Ethiopia, the present day. A girl walks down a dusty path at dawn. She is 11 years old. She is wearing a school uniform she will not wear to school today. On her head, she is carrying a plastic bucket. It is empty now. It weighs nothing. By sunset, it will weigh 40 pounds. She will have carried it home, across 6 miles of broken terrain. She will do this tomorrow. And the day after that, she is one of 200 million people on Earth right now, whose entire day revolves around a single object, an object so ordinary, so invisible, that most of us have forgotten it exists. This is the history of the bucket. For most of human history, before plumbing, before the faucet, before the pipe buried under the street, the bucket was the entire water system. Every drop of water consumed by every human was carried from source to home by hand. 10,000 years of it, roughly 400 generations of humans. The first buckets were not wooden. They were animal stomachs, turned inside out and waterproofed with grease. They were gourds hollowed out and sealed. They were clay jars fired in the first kilns. They were leather pouches, stitched tight. The wooden stave bucket appears in Mesopotamia around 3000 BC. Around the same time, the pyramid builders in Egypt are lifting water with a device called the shaduf, a long wooden arm pivoted on a post, a leather bucket at one end, a stone counterweight at the other. The shaduf is 4,000 years older than the wheel of the ox cart. It is one of the oldest known machines in history, and it is, essentially, a clever way to lift a bucket. Every city you have ever heard of was built on top of a bucket system. Rome had aqueducts. That is what everyone remembers. What they forget is that the aqueducts stopped at public fountains. From the fountain to the household, every drop was carried by hand, in a bucket. This is the detail history books leave out. The bucket is the part you cannot see in the painting. Here is the twist. For 10,000 years, the bucket was a woman's technology. Water hauling was women's work in virtually every pre-industrial civilization. In ancient Greece, it is the daughters who go to the well. In medieval Europe, it is the mother. In rural India, it is the daughter-in-law. In sub-Saharan Africa today, it is still the girl. The daily routine of the woman, walking miles to a water source, dominated female life. 4 hours a day, sometimes 5, sometimes more. This is why so many religious paintings show women at wells. The well was where women met, spoke, traded gossip, and negotiated the world. It was their workplace, their meeting hall, and their only public space. The Bible story of Jesus meeting the Samaritan woman at a well is not accidental. He meets her at a well because in that society, the well was the only place he would find her. The bucket did not just carry water. It organized the lives of half the human race. But then, the bucket started killing people. 1854, London. A cholera outbreak erupts in the Soho district. In 10 days, 500 people are dead. Entire families wiped out in a single afternoon. A doctor named John Snow maps every case. The pattern is strange. The victims are clustered around a single street pump on Broad Street. They all draw water from it. They all carry it home in buckets, and many of them are dying within hours of drinking it. Snow removes the handle from the pump. The outbreak stops. He has just invented modern epidemiology. But what he has really discovered is that the bucket is a disease vector. A family brings home a bucket of contaminated water. The whole family drinks from it. The bucket sits in the kitchen, unwashed for days. The whole neighborhood is infected. For most of the 19th century, cholera, typhoid, and dysentery tear through every city on Earth. All of it transmitted through bucket-carried water. Tens of millions die. The bucket carried the disease. The bucket was the disease. By the way, you are clearly the kind of person who finds this stuff fascinating. If you want more hidden stories behind the things you use every day, hit subscribe. Now, back to our story. There is one more story about the bucket every modern person should know. It is about fire. Before fire engines, the bucket was the only thing standing between a city and a firestorm. Every parish, every household, every guild was legally required to keep fire buckets ready. Queen Elizabeth I issued decrees in the 1570s, specifying exactly how many buckets each London parish must hang in its church. When a fire started, church bells rang. Citizens ran to the source, carrying their buckets. A human chain formed, the bucket brigade, passing water hand to hand, from the nearest well or river to the burning building. It sounds quaint. It was hopeless. September 1666, London. A small fire starts in a bakery on Pudding Lane. The city has been in drought for months. A strong east wind is blowing. Bucket brigades form immediately. 5 days later, 13,000 houses are gone. 87 parish churches are gone. Most of the medieval city of London is ashes. The bucket brigades never once had a chance of stopping it. A year later, a merchant named Nicholas Barbon starts the world's first fire insurance company. He also starts the world's first professional fire brigade. Each insurance company stamps its bucket with its logo. Firemen are paid to save only the houses that display the right mark. The bucket is no longer a universal tool. It is a branded product owned by a company. The age of the citizen bucket brigade is ending, and then indoor plumbing arrives. By 1900, piped water reaches most middle-class homes in London, Paris, and New York. By 1950, most of the developed world has running water. The bucket becomes a garden tool, a cleaning supply, an object of rural nostalgia. In the developed world, the 10,000-year age of the bucket ends within about 2 generations. Here is the statistic. 2.2 billion people on Earth today still do not have safe water piped to their homes. For those 2.2 billion, the bucket is still the water system. Women and girls in sub-Saharan Africa walk an average of 6 kilometers every day. Across the world, roughly 200 million hours are spent every single day carrying buckets. That is over 70 billion hours a year. It is the largest single category of unpaid labor in the world. Girls miss school to carry water. Women miss work. Families stay poor because adult women spend half their waking hours hauling water instead of earning. Cholera still kills over 100,000 people every year. Almost all of it transmitted, exactly as in 1854, through the water in someone's bucket. The bucket carried every drop of water humanity ever drank for 10,000 years. It built every city on Earth. It defined the lives of half the human race. It spread the deadliest pandemics in history, and it still does. The next time you turn on a tap, remember, for most of human history, and for a third of the humans alive today, there is no tap. There is a bucket. There is a girl walking 6 miles. There is a woman who will die this year because of the water she carried home in it. The bucket is the most underestimated object in history, and it is still quietly shaping the world. If you liked this, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and share it. Next time, we go from the tool that carried water into every home to the one that sealed every home. The history of the door. How a simple plank of wood invented privacy, property, and the very concept of home. You will not look at a doorway the same way again. History is everywhere.